Well, Dale and I made a decision to do our farm on a very small piece of land. We've never really cultivated more than 2 acres, and we don't use big machinery. So, and most of the time we have a lot of contact with the ground with little hand tools or our hands, so we know what's going on in every area of the farm and really take good care of it. Just the 2 of us.
It starts in the early spring, in March, when we start seedlings. Our farm is a lot of things going on at the same time with a lot of rotation of different crops. And it's not just from year to year, but within a season. Every square foot of the farm is accounted for because it's very diversified. Over a season, we'll grow over 75 to 100 different crops and market some of all of them. And we don't depend on just one crop.
It's amazing how much can be produced on a small amount of land.
When you start all these seeds and you have all these crops in the field and you're growing them all, they become like your boss, sort of, because nature's kind of dictating to you what you have to do now that you've set all this in motion by planting all these different crops and taking care of them. And then sooner or later, you have to go out there and bring them out of the field and bring it in and sell it. And that involves a lot of work.
Well, I've always been interested in nutrition, and that was one of my major interests in organic farming, was actually getting to eat good quality food, when I think the best quality food is the food you grow yourself. It's always been really important, and I wanted to make sure that we're going to eat the best quality food that we're growing. I think it's a very good way of life.
I think that growing food for your neighbors and for your community and for your relatives and your close friends, I think is very satisfying, because you see the results of people eating good, wholesome food, good things that you've grown yourself, and things that haven't been minimally processed, that haven't been packaged and hasn't taken a lot of away from the land in fossil fuels.
It's a whole different experience when you start with the seeds and then eat the food that you've grown. And very few people today can have that experience, especially people that live in cities. And I feel very lucky that I have had this experience. Been growing food for myself for the past 15 years.
It's time to start thinking about where does my food come from? How is it grown? Who's growing it? And can I trust that the people that are growing it, the farmers, are growing things in a safe manner?
Well, what we've been doing is trying to keep our sales of our produce and distribution as local as possible. And that's what people are more conscious of now, the idea of local, because you don't have to use fossil fuels that much to get your food. So we've been doing that all along. We've always been very local in our distribution, and been very careful in our growing methods to use sustainable growing methods.
When I first moved to the east end of Long Island, I was amazed that we were in the middle of fish and farm country, but very few restaurants served anything that was local. I met Betty and Dale, and really in my quest for local food, I noticed that there was a big difference between what I was buying, both in taste, the way it looked, shelf life, and that's what first made me interested in organics, just because I thought it was a better product that I was serving. I always tell everyone the most important ingredient in any plate and any food is love. That goes into everything we serve, both in the plates and the way we serve it. What's great about Betty and Dale, when we met, I was driving around in my Mustang and buying tomatoes in Sagaponack and broccoli in Bridgehampton, and spent an awful lot of time driving around to get a product here, a product there. When I met you guys, you were so diversified that it made my life a lot easier, aside from being organic and
And it's my favorite dress. And I got it in a yard sale in Sag Harbor about, 20 years ago for $1. So I guess we got pears and watermelon and asparagus. So it's the perfect dress for a farm lady.